Welcome all to the Reef Podcast. I'm your host, LuisIpa, bringing you another edition of the Reef Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Louis, and I'm actually joined by a previous co-host here tonight, Snow. Hello, sir.
Good evening to you, my friend. It's been
Man,
quite some time, indeed.
it's been a while since you've been a co-host here, man. Good to see you back.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually interviewing the great Corey Tarver from Scion Esports here. Welcome, Corey. How you doing?
Hey man, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for actually coming out like a little bit late in the evening, but hey, sometimes you have to do real things in real life, you know?
Yep.
Awesome. So, you want to do like a little quick introduction for everybody that's actually new listening in?
Yeah, like of myself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. I'm Corey Tarver. I'm the general manager of Lake Charles Toyota by day. And then my secret identity is one of the co-founders of Scion Esports, which is a kind of a grassroots organization here in Southwest Louisiana, based out of and funded by Lake Charles Toyota. And we've been doing esports events, producing first party esports events ourselves, and also helping others to produce their own events and be successful at it for a little over 10 years. We're actually kind of celebrating our 10th anniversary this year. So we started out small, and we've been growing ever since, and had a lot of fun and made a lot of mistakes, and you know
If I'm
but it's
not
been
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken, you guys actually had recently a Halo land, correct?
We did. We had a very big Halo LAN this in January, at the end of January, and we had 40 something teams from all over the southeast region. So we had several teams from Texas, some teams from Mississippi and Alabama, and then there was a few teams that actually flew in crews from all over the country. So it was a pretty big event. It was a lot of fun. We had some Halo professional HCS casters come join us. We brought in some celebrities, and it was a big event. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. And one thing I noticed, like from this event, is that apparently, like one team actually had a huge win streak, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the team that ended up winning it was a team called Cat 5, and no one had ever really heard of them. We weren't expecting much out of them, but they kind of came out of nowhere. And as it turned out, Booba little brother was on that team, which is he's a Halo professional, has been for many years. And actually, he won an event. Booba won a Scion Esports LAN many years ago, kind of out of nowhere before he was famous. And then his brother put together this team, Cat 5, and they kind of ran the tables on everybody. There was a lot of teams that we were watching that everybody thought was going to do really well, and all the expected teams the teams that were expected to do well did well, but there was a couple of kind of dark horses, and one of those was Cat 5, and they ran the tables on everybody.
You gotta love when you get those upsets, though.
Yep.
Awesome. So, please tell us a little bit about Cyphacon coming up, because I mean, I bet a lot of people are actually excited about this convention coming to Lake Charles, LA.
Yeah, we hope a lot of people are excited. It's I think there's a lot of people out there looking for something to do. The worry and concern about COVID is kind of dying down, and the convention atmosphere has been something that has been sorely lacking the last couple of years. There's been really nothing for people to do like that. And so this event, with the recent, even the governor's mandates are now over in Louisiana, and so there's the concern is much slower, and it's just a lot freer atmosphere. And so I think people are kind of fiending for something to get out and do like this. So we're really excited about it. It's actually Cyphacon's 10th anniversary as well. We got on board with Cyphacon in 2015 with a big League of Legends tournament, and we've been a pretty big presence there ever since. We took 1 year off when myself and my brother both had kids. I had my son at the end of January, and he had his twins at the beginning of May, and so we took that Cyphacon off, but we still had a presence there. But other than that, we've been doing it for about 6 or 7 years, and we've always had a growing gaming presence there.
Now, is there any specific celebrity, like voice actor, that you actually kind of curious to see, like see them over there?
I'm always excited to see the Star Trek ones.
Oh,
They've got Tim Russ he's from Voyager, and this is going to date me, but I know Tim Russ from Spaceballs, actually. I don't know if a lot of your listeners are even familiar with that movie, but he was the guy that did the sweeps and the creeps and the beeps. And so I know him from that, but he's also one of the Star Trek main cast on Voyager, and I think it's Voyager,
yeah.
but I need to catch up on that one. But I always love the Star Trek ones. They had a visitor last year, and then what's his name? Robinson, Jeff. I think his name was Jeff. No, not what was his name? Jeff Robinson is in control, who passed away recently. But anyway, the guy that played Garrick from Deep Space Nine. I'm a huge Next Gen and Deep Space Nine fan. So they have Doug Jones, prolific actor as well, and quite a few anime voice actors. But for me, it's usually I just always make a point to go see the Star Trek ones.
Awesome. Yeah, the only time I ever saw Tim Russ, I mean, believe it or not, was when my niece actually introduced me to this show called iCarly, and he actually apparently did a cameo in it. I was like, oh,
nice.
That's actually him. So it's actually like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. So I look forward to actually meeting a couple of them as well.
Live events really do get in the way of things, but how do you go about handling much of the troubles that come with the aspect of life? How do you guys handle much of that?
Well, you're exactly right. It's all about balance, right? I mean, we all have day jobs, and a lot of us work together at Lake Charles Toyota, but also a lot of us that are involved with Scion Esports don't. But none of us do this professionally. This organization, we hardly ever charge. In fact, we never make it a matter of principle that we never make money off of these events. If we do charge money, it goes to pay for the prize pool. So it's a zero profit business. So it has no employees. So we're all volunteers basically. And we all have jobs, and most of us have families, and we also do this on the side. So it is just all about balance. And, one of the ways that we do that is there's a core of about 3 or 4 of us that are involved in every Scion Esports event, but then there's about 30 people that surround us that they come and go, and they participate with one and then take one off, and we might have of the 35 or 40 consistent core volunteers that we have, we might use 10 or 15 or 20 of them to run an event, and we use who's available. And then we detox a lot whenever we spend all of our free time putting on one of these events. We spend a significant time after the event, what we call detoxing, which is just not talking about esports, not answering questions, not doing website stuff, and not planning the next event. We might play some video games, but just on our own for fun. But yeah, the balancing the challenges of stuff that comes up with life and work and esports also is kind of the name of the game.
Especially when you mention like 20 to 30 people, that can be a lot of people to divert your forces. But
yeah, we have a pretty big team, and we have a pretty good. Over the years we've built a pretty good kind of roster of good committed and loyal workers that and we always try to pay something, but most of these guys and girls that are doing it, we might pay them $100 or whatever for here and there, but generally they're doing it because they love the games as well, and they love Scion Esports, and they love being a part of something that's given these experiences to the community. So it is kind of like herding cats sometimes, working with such a large team, but there's only so much you can do with 3 or 4 people. And, when you have a large crew of volunteers and staff, you can really take the quality of the experience up a notch for the players and the fans. And that's what it's really all about. So if we can get a good sizable crew together, then we know we're not going to leave a lot of gaps unfilled.
What other ways do you express the appreciation for their loyalty for these things?
So we just always try to be humble and try to be appreciative and let our staff know how much we appreciate them working with us. And One of our philosophies at Lake Charles Toyota about our business is if our employees are happy and fulfilled and enjoy what they do and can take pride in what they do, of course, everybody's there primarily to provide a living for their families. But if in general they can be happy and feel good and feel appreciated, then they're going to exhibit that and exemplify that to our customers that come in and shop for cars. So, if we treat our salespeople right and our service technicians and our service advisors, if we take care of those people and give them a good work experience, then they're going to give our customers that come through the door a good customer experience. And we kind of look at esports the same way. Like we don't make any money doing this, so we can't compensate them with significant amount of money, but we just try to heap on praise and thanks, and we always try to do little special events for them. We always try to have kind of hospitality areas where we provide food and drinks for them, and just try to give our workers a good experience as well, because we know that if we give them a good experience, and they're going to give the players and fans a good experience, and also they're going to want to come back. We've got a couple people that we bring in from out of town for these events, and they say, look, man, I have one guy that I'm talking to right now that he says, look, I really want to come, and if you don't have any money in the coffers, just pay me less. I still want to come. I love working with you guys, and if you need to pay me less, I'm coming. So it's really just all about making sure that we stay humble, and we are just constantly praising and thanking our people and letting them know that how much we genuinely appreciate them. And we also try not to work them too hard. We try to make sure that we've got everybody, plenty of help, so that there's not, one person having to run an event that's got 100 players in it by themselves or whatever. And our broadcast talent, we try to make sure that we have, if we need 2 broadcasters or 3 broadcasters, then we try to line up 5 or 6 so that they can have plenty of time off to enjoy the event from the outside. So, I think a big part of it is just trying to make sure that we're thinking about our staff's experience in working with us, in addition to thinking about our guests' experience and our players' experience. The staff experience, I don't want to say that it's necessarily it's more important than the guest experience, but it's got to come first. I wouldn't say it's more important, but it does have to take precedent. Mm-hmm. Because you've got to give the staff, you've got to make the staff feel good about what they're doing, or else you'll never get them back next time. And also they won't be able to go out and deliver as good of an experience to the players and fans as you want them to.
Oh, thank you. All right, so I know you guys actually have like a bunch of games planned out for this event specifically. Can you actually name a good bit of the games that you have running for?
Yeah. I will do my best to name them all. This year is, like I said, we're kind of co-celebrating our 10th anniversary with Cyphacon. I'm not exactly sure. I guess their birthday was probably early April of 2012. And our birthday technically was November 23rd, 2011. But we're both kind of in this 10th anniversary year. So we at Scion Esports decided it would be cool to do 10 games, 10 different esports titles at this one event. And we normally do, at Cyphacon, we normally do 5 or 6. And we've done, like, for example, for our 4th Thanksgiving Open, we did 4 titles. It's kind of a trade-off in the amount of depth and complexity you can go with the tournament. With a lower number of titles and the amount of resources you can invest in an individual title, it's a trade-off with when you do more titles, you just get a more shallower depth of all of them, but you also get to engage more people because you reach a broader range of people. And so we thought this year with Cyphacon, hopefully having 4,000 or 5,000 people in attendance, we would just try to present a broad slate of games. And so we're running 2 stages and 2 streams, so we're going to have 2 live streams and 2 video walls set up for the broadcasting of the 2 sets of games. And we're breaking it up into half team-based games and half fighting games or single-player games. So on the team game side, we've got, and we did it with a vote. We took a vote of, like, we ended up getting like 300 or 400 votes of what games, what titles they wanted to see. And we didn't select exactly the top 10 titles because there was some overlap. Like, for example, a lot of people are wondering why we didn't do Valorant. because it did get a significant amount of votes. But Overwatch and Halo both got more votes than it, and so we just didn't really want to just do, 3 team shooters. We wanted to diversify it a little bit, so we kind of used some input from a poll, but we also kind of used some common sense and logistical planning to decide what games to do. So on the team game side, there is Halo Infinite, which by far and away got the most votes, maybe because we're coming off of a Halo Infinite tournament recently, just in the last couple of months. Kind of feels like the game is struggling to retain a player base right now, but it did receive by far and away the most votes. So we're planning on doing a Halo Infinite tournament. We have an Overwatch tournament slated. We are also doing Rocket League, which Rocket League is a lot of fun, and it's just really cool to watch. And it's so simple to understand. It's not simple to play. I'm terrible at it, but it's just so simple and natural to watch it and understand what's going on. So I'm really excited to have Rocket League. And then we have League of Legends as well, and Call of Duty Vanguard. We did a couple of Warzone online events that we really struggled to get the software to work right. The game just doesn't work well. So we're just going with regular Call of Duty multiplayer. So Halo, Overwatch, Rocket League, League of Legends, and Call of Duty Vanguard. That's our team games, and they're spread out throughout the weekend. I'm not going to challenge myself to get the exact days for each of those events because I never would get it right. But each game is only featured on one day. So if you like one of those games, you can buy a single day pass if that's all you want to play. Of course, the weekend passes are a lot better deal. But so that's the team games. And then on the individual 1-versus-1 or fighting game style side, on that stage, we're partnering with Laffy Smash to kind of run that stream. Curls and his crew are kind of organizing that side of the stage. So we're excited to have them as a partner. We're going to be kind of, it's not going to be Scion on one side and Laffy Smash on the other, but we're kind of subcontracting a lot of the work to them. So we're excited to have them on board. So all the team games, if you're watching from home, the team games will be streamed on twitch.tv/Scion Esports. And the fighting games or one-player games will be streamed on twitch.tv/Laffy Smash. Those games are, of course, Smash Ultimate, which for whatever reason, the Smash community in Lake Charles has always been there, has always been strong, and so Southwest Louisiana is just a Smash town. And we kind of sometimes wish it had more variety. We kind of wish there was more games. Like we really wish that there was more, bigger communities for other games. But you can't penalize the Smash community for being so prevalent. So we're topping the lineup off with Smash Ultimate. That's going to be our biggest single player event, we believe. We're expecting probably 100 and 150 players for that. And then we're doing Smash Melee, which is kind of making a resurgence in the Smash community. We go back. We did Melee before many years ago. We had a pretty bad experience because the community was incredibly toxic. They were just absolutely impossible to deal with. But our Smash people say that that's kind of turning around, that it's a good community now, and also they've gotten away from using CRT TVs. They're playing Smash Melee on emulators on PC now, which is really nice because it sure is a whole lot better than lugging those CRTs everywhere. So I'm excited about not having to do that. So Smash Melee is our second single-player title. Tekken 7 was the traditional fighting game that got the most votes. It was pretty close with like Mortal Kombat and DBZ, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Brawlhalla got a few votes, and Guilty Gear Strive got a few votes. But Tekken was kind of what rose to the top a little bit, and was also the recommendation of our fighting game experts. So we're going with Tekken. I don't know that much about it, but hopefully we'll have a good scene there for that. So Ultimate, Melee, Tekken, Madden. We're doing a Madden tournament. We think that there is. We had a few at our last event. We had like maybe 6 or 8 people play Madden at our last event, or might have even got up to 10 or so. So we're going to try to bring back Madden and play do a sports title. And then we're rounding it out with a game that I'm really excited about, which is Mario Kart, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch. And I'm just really excited to see that because I love Mario Kart, and we've never done it competitively. I don't really know why. It's just never really been kind of something that the community asked for. But now it got a significant amount of votes on this, and with the deluxe version coming out on the Switch, it's kind of been revitalized, and we're really excited to feature that title. One of our only ever viral videos, our most famous Scion Esports video on YouTube, is actually us, Scion Esports, about 4 players from Scion Esports, playing Mario Kart against Cyphacon, against a team of about 4 players from Cyphacon, playing. And I can't remember if we did twos at a time or individual players or what, but we were doing this Cypha versus Scion tournament series leading up to a Cyphacon one year. And for some reason, that video has just gone viral on YouTube, and it's got like thousands and thousands of views for basically no reason. So it's really funny. So it's just kind of a cool little story about Mario Kart. But I think Mario Kart on the fighting game side, the 1 versus 1 game side, it's probably the game that I'm the most excited about.
That's awesome.
So that was 5, wasn't it? Smash Ultimate, Smash Melee, Tekken, Madden, and Mario Kart. Yeah. Yep. So that's it. That's all 10.
That's quite a lineup you have there, though.
Yep.
So basically, like, speaking of Mario Kart, I mean, you can't go wrong with hitting somebody with a red shell or anything like that. I mean, that's just like gets so competitive, and just the fact.
Oh, I know.
Just the fact that you guys are gonna have like a broadcast team actually do that. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, and so it's gonna be online, of course. But the most exciting way to watch it is gonna be at Cyphacon on a 20-foot video wall. We put on a pretty good show, so it'll be great to watch it on stream. But it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch these guys playing these games in the venue.
Now, if you don't mind telling us what is the weekend pass? Like, what do you get with the weekend pass, and what do you get for the single day pass?
I wish I knew, and if I should have probably come to this podcast with more equipped with more details on the actual specifics of Cyphacon. But I know at cyphacon.org you can get all the ticket details.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the weekend passes are like around $40 or something like that. And then there's actually an after dark, like an adult party that's a separate ticket item. So if you're planning on going for one day only, it probably makes sense to just get the 1 day pass. But it's a 3-day event plus the after dark thing, and then they also have they usually do a pub crawl, and they have stuff like that. So there's a lot of kind of peripheral activities. And if you're interested in doing anything other than just going to play for your one game, you might as well consider getting a weekend pass, because it's not a whole lot less, and you get, it's not a whole lot more to spend to get the weekend pass. You just get, basically you can get any of those activities you want to participate in, you can participate in. There's really good music. Like there's really good music every night. Friday night, Mega Ran is going to play, which is a huge act in the video game, probably like the biggest act in video game music. Scion Esports and Lake Charles Toyota are paying to have Mega Ran come to Cyphacon. We're really excited to have him back. Saturday night, Professor Shy Guy is playing, which is another awesome video game music act. Who's actually Brant Cooley is actually from Lake Charles. He went to high school with me and Eric. And he was a phenomenal guitar player. He was in like show choir and stuff as a guitar player in high school. Then he kind of disappeared, went off and got famous playing video game music, like 8-bit Nintendo sound and video game music. And now we bring him back when we have conventions to play at these, nerdy conventions. So it's great to have him. So that's another thing you can get on Saturday. On Sunday, there's a band called Suzaku 7 that I think plays they're like a full band that plays like anime soundtracks and stuff. So if you only buy 1 day pass, then you're right away going to only be able to hear one of those musicians. You're not going to be able to, even if you don't have any games you want to play those other days, or vendors you want to see, you're going to miss out on the opportunity to see some really talented musicians. There's a lot to experience at Cyphacon. It's not just video games. We do video games. That's 100% what we do. So like for example, if it's like our Halo tournament that we just had in January, that was video games basically only, and that was the whole focus of that event. But Cyphacon, we put on a good show, a big video game portion of the show, but it's not just video games. There's a lot of other stuff. There's a lot of sci-fi fan groups and cosplayers and musicians and artists and all kinds of stuff.
Don't be surprised if you actually see a lot of people do IRL streaming, like from there, and literally
Yeah.
like just videotaping everybody.
Yep.
There's gonna be a lot of stuff like that.
So I noticed that, upon this topic, we've talked about what's going on in the present day. Considering the way things are going, you guys, put a lot of money out of your pocket to fund these things. We're not going into politics or anything, the way society's going, but how do you guys, plan to do this for the next, 3 years in 2025, 5 years after, continuing 5 years after that? How do you guys plan on doing that? I know it's a very, broad topic and a lot can
Yeah.
happen in the span of just a single year. But how do you guys plan on continuing this for the next few years?
Well,
For
I think
however long you want to go for.
Yeah, and I don't think we really have an answer for how long we want it to go, because the reason we do this is to give our community an experience that we didn't feel like it was getting from anywhere else. So as long as we feel like our community, primarily Southwest Louisiana, but also just the greater gaming community in general, as long as the community wants what we have to offer, we're going to keep doing it. We don't see any reason to stop. We will keep doing it in some way, shape, or form, no matter what happens. And obviously, a lot of that is dependent upon resources, and those resources, financial resources, primarily come from selling cars. We're a car dealership, and we talked about this a little more last time we came on Lewis's show, but we're a car dealership, and when people buy cars from us and buy warranties from us and buy parts from us and get their service done with us and buy accessories from us, that's what provides the financial capital that we need to dump this money back into our community in the form of esports. So as long as our business is healthy, and the healthier it stays, the more we'll be able to spend on esports and the better experiences we'll be able to provide. I don't really see us. We've had a lot of talks and a lot of internal discussions. And in fact, Austin, I'm going to talk bad about him because he's not on this podcast tonight, because he was supposed to be here and he no-showed. But he's a good worker at Lake Charles Toyota, and he's basically one of our kind of he's like an assistant foreman of our quick service team that does like the oil changes and stuff like that. And he makes a good living doing it. But his dream job is to work for Scion Esports and basically run Scion Esports professionally as a career. And we just have to tell him, Austin, that's never going to happen, because our income is $0. Like a business can't pay a full-time employee $50,000 or $60,000 with zero income, and we feel like we're a zero income business because we want to provide services and experiences as a service to our community. So we feel like we have amassed plenty enough tangible physical resources in the form of production equipment and consoles. I feel like we have a larger collection of hardware, of esports specific hardware, than anybody, this side of probably Hollywood or New York, maybe. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some big gaming communities in Austin, Texas, and maybe in Florida and places like that. But we have a substantial investment in the industry, and I think we have a substantial amount of experience and also contacts within the industry, that if we wanted to go pro, so to speak, if we wanted to make this a professional organization, a profit center in and of itself that could grow and raise money for itself, and charge money and raise money so that it could grow further and further, I think we could do that. And I think we have a very good platform to do that. But we just don't feel like that's our mission, really. There's a lot of companies out there doing that. There's a lot of companies out there doing for-profit esports. There are certainly none in Southwest Louisiana doing that, certainly not successfully. But we just feel like community service esports is our wheelhouse, and that's kind of where our vision is and our mission is. So whatever we do going forward in the future, in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, We really feel like it's going to primarily be that. It's going to be primarily giving back to our community in the form of esports. So that's I don't know exactly what the future is going to look like, but I do know that it's going to be pretty much within kind of those guidelines, those guiding kind of core principles of who Scion Esports is. Our kind of tagline slogan is giving a generation of gamers what it wants. That's all. That's what we do. That's all we do. Whatever the gamers want, whatever they want, that's what we're going to give them. We don't pick. We would love to be able to pick our own esports titles and do tournaments the way we want to do them. We would love to have a StarCraft 2 tournament with Mr. Bitter and Rotterdam and Idra and people like that casting it, and professional players playing in it, because StarCraft 2 is a passion that we have. And so is Halo, and it's a passion that we have, and that's why this last event was a very unique time when our passion was able to line up with the gamers' passions, and Austin's passion might be for-profit professional esports, making it a big thriving business in and of itself that can pay for itself and pay its own employees and be a thriving business. And that's kind of what Austin wants. But ultimately, what Scion Esports' vision is giving gamers what they want. And we just feel like in Southwest Louisiana, what they want is put on an event where we can come play games, and that's what we do. So it's going to always be within that kind of guiding vision of kind of a community service in the form of esports. That's what the future of Scion Esports is going to be.
It's always good to actually show what people want. I mean, you could actually tell, from looking at you guys' Twitter, how people actually praise y'all for hosting a great event, and just praising, the people that actually work for, and how great they felt, by going to all these events.
Yeah, it is nice. Positive feedback and positive reinforcement and praise is very nice. And there's plenty, you don't get a big head. You don't get egotistical or arrogant working in esports, because it is encouraging and reassuring when people pat you on the back and thank you and appreciate you for doing a great job. But there's just so many people out there that just troll you and berate you and complain and whine. So you definitely don't let it doesn't go to your head at all, because they're the praise and the thanks, they're out there. They are out there, but they're a little quieter and they're fewer and farther between. So we always latch on to the praise when it comes, and just try to use that to fuel us to go on to the next one, and push through all the trolls and put on another great event later on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just wanted to let you know that at least there's at least one person out of every continent actually listening in to this podcast that we actually do with y'all. So that
is awesome.
The fact that
does that include Antarctica?
Well, nobody's in Antarctica, but I mean, eventually it could be.
I think there's like a couple hundred researchers down there, but we'll get them listening to the Reef Podcast eventually.
One day. One country that really took me by surprise was actually Madagascar. Out of all the countries,
really?
Yeah, somebody in Madagascar actually was listening in the last one we did.
That's awesome.
But I am actually thankful that to actually have worked for y'all. So I'm giving y'all that thank you for having me for 2 events so far, and actually going on the 3rd one now. So
well, that's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and we're glad to have you on the team.
Absolutely. Also, I wanted to let everybody know that this fall, on October, I'll be going myself to San Diego for TwitchCon. So
nice.
So basically, I'll be sure to actually maybe more than likely promote Scion Esports over there a little bit, to see if I actually I can get a couple of people to actually tune into the Twitter and actually see if they're actually interested in flying out.
Awesome. Yeah, one of the founders, I think he's like a executive vice president or something, CFO or COO or something now, but one of the founders of Twitch is a guy named John Howell. Mm-hmm. And he's from Louisiana. I want to say he's from Southeast Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah. So we actually got. I'm assuming he's still with him. He was like the number 2 or something. He was one of the original founding team members, I believe. And we got in touch with him when we did our first ever StarCraft tournament And they sent quite a bit of cool Twitch swag. That was a lot earlier time. It was almost 10 years ago. So they were a lot newer company too. But if you see that name rolling around anywhere at TwitchCon, let him know you're from Louisiana, and he may throw some cool swag your way or something.
Well, I mean, I plan on actually bringing a lot of staff members from Scion some swag from San Diego for sure.
Awesome.
Going back from when you guys started, what struggles really did you guys have to become what you guys are today?
The biggest struggle is always reaching people. It's hard to get people to pay attention to your message, and it's hard to get, and really that's the whole reason behind Scion Esports is it grew out of the fact that it's hard to get people to receive your message, especially when you're a car dealership, because people are very conditioned to just ignore a lot of the messaging and advertising that they see. If it's big discounts, blah blah blah, big rebates, year-end clearance, more money for your trade, whatever. If the advertising messages that car dealerships traditionally put out, it's just very difficult to get people to cut through all that clutter and pay attention to your message. So the actual origin of Scion Esports was kind of a attempted remedy at that, to try to connect with a group of consumers that were basically conditioned to ignore your messaging. So it was kind of, we tried to reach out to people who were already kind of blocked off from the messaging. But then I would say that same challenge is Scion Esports' biggest challenge. It's just very, very difficult to get your message out to people. Like, there's always people that hear about an event afterwards and like, oh, that's so cool, I wish I would have known about that. And it's like, you live 5 minutes away from this other guy that came, and you're friends with him on Twitter and Facebook, and you go to the same school as him, and he found out about it, but how didn't you find out about it? So it's just I think getting the message out was the biggest challenge to growth all along. And it's gotten worse, as I think it's gotten more difficult as social media has changed to a much more monetized industry. Because if you think that your social reach matters organically, you're wrong. It doesn't. No one is seeing anything organically in any mass at all, unless you're a blue check on Twitter and every post you make goes viral. But social media messaging 10 years ago, organic was what it was all about. It was all about getting your network to share your message, and that's what happened. But now the algorithms are all so focused on monetization that you basically have to pay for every bit of reach you have. And so whether you're paying for a billboard that people drive by, or paying for promoted messaging on social media, or paying for Google search, or paying for traditional media advertising, it's tough to get that message out when you don't have any money to spend. When we're not for profit industry. So I think the challenge is now, and has always been, the biggest challenge to growth is getting a message out in front of people, and getting people to know what you're doing and why you're doing it and when you're doing it. That's the biggest challenge.
Right. And like many people say, as a common knowledge bit of wisdom of, you need money to make money. But at the same
Yeah.
time, if your goal is not to make money, but instead spread the message out, problem is, still need money. Even if you're not trying to make money, you're still needing money.
Yeah, it's just always like the recurring theme has just kind of been balance, and we always just have to say, man, how much can we afford to spend on this, knowing what we're going to get out of it, which is basically nothing. But we're not trying to get anything out of it. We're just trying to give an experience. But you have to justify even more so what you're spending and what you're investing. It's a challenge, and it's very difficult to explain to yourself and justify to yourself what we're investing and why. And you just got to kind of look at every event on its own and say, was it successful or was it not? And did the intended audience come out and enjoy it? And as long as we keep answering that question with yes, I guess we'll keep doing it.
I was gonna say, like, one thing that really just caught my attention is the fact that Cyphacon is actually happening on April Fool's weekend. How do you feel about that?
We have discussed a few things that we might want to do. The challenge of for that April Fool's thing is no shortage of cool ideas. We have a lot of fun things that we have had ideas that we want to do, but the challenge there is not money. The challenge is time. We have a lot of very creative and very fun ideas for April Fool's Day. Whether or not any of them are going to come to fruition or not is going to be strictly based on the amount of time we have to prepare. But I think it will definitely set itself up for some cool and fun things. Having a cosplay themed convention on April Fool's Day, I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of fun there.
Wait. So you're saying that I can actually show up in a shark costume?
You can if you want to. It wouldn't bother me any.
All the power to you, my friend.
Because that's one thing that a couple of NOLA Flight crew members actually talked to me about. They're like, you better come in your shark costume, dude.
You got a Katy Perry left shark
Oh, dude.
shark costume?
Absolutely. I got it on eBay.
Nice.
So I was thinking about actually just wearing that for probably a good 30 minutes on April Fool's Day, just to get a couple of giggles and stuff. And who knows? I mean, some people might actually be like, "Oh my gosh, a shark! What the heck?" But I actually decided that I have this goal on mine, on my Twitch community, that I told them that if we reach this goal, I'm really gonna walk around the whole Twitch convention in that shark costume, like the whole event.
Nice.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep yourself cool with that.
Oh, trust me.
In more ways than one.
Oh, I know for a fact, they always keep the arena, the whole area is all with AC and everything, so they don't keep it hot or anything.
That's good.
Yeah. But all right. So last question that I have for you today is, if you could actually recommend anybody else besides y'all to actually come to the podcast, who you think would actually be a good addition to actually interview here?
I think we could probably hook you up with some up and coming stream talent, some streamers that are trying to make a name for themselves. Why Not Be Casting is a guy that have you talked? Do you remember him from the Halo tournament?
I believe so.
Yes. Tony Rose. He's a real up and comer, and he's working on his stream presence, and he has a gig working for HCS now, casting Halo. So I think he would be a cool person to get on, because he's got a lot of experience in the industry, but he's also kind of a newcomer, and he's real cool and very down to earth. He would probably be a good one.
Now
that would be, and he's a lot of fun to talk to too. There's a couple of other people that have been on our broadcast team before. Sam Obenchain, you may remember he actually was the tournament organizer for Halo, and he was a caster for Smash Brothers at Cyphacon Mini.
Yeah,
he's actually a former Smash Melee pro, which I'm not really sure how much money he won doing it, but he played Smash Melee professionally. And so he's got a lot of experience playing games, and also he's professionally a tournament organizer. That's what he does now. I want to say he's located in Nashville, I think, but he's a professional tournament organizer, and he's got professional esports history, and he's also really good as a broadcaster and a commentator. So he probably would be a good interview. He'd be a cool one to reach out to.
I'm actually gonna be interviewing Captain Atsoka.
Captain Atsoka was the next person I was gonna say, because he's another. If you want Louisiana people, he's a New Orleans kind of boy. He comes from the Rocket League community. He's a really engaging and really exciting caster, and he also would, I think, be a fantastic interview, because he just loves to talk.
Yeah.
So he's another up and comer that's trying to build a name for himself, and he was if I would have gone on and recommended a third person, it would have been him.
I know for a fact he's actually going through a lot right now with that tornado that hit New Orleans, I believe, right?
I haven't heard about that, but I have heard that there have been some tornadoes in southeast Louisiana, but I didn't know that he was affected by it in any way. I hope he wasn't too directly affected.
He said that it was actually around his neighborhood, which was really scary. But thankfully, he did not get hurt. Nobody got hurt in his family, so thankfully he was okay. Yeah. But it was just really bad. I was like, man. I mean, I hope everything turns out better. I mean, I know like
Yep.
we're having to face a lot of like adversity going on right now, but all we can
Yep.
do is just pray and make sure everything is good.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully he's okay. I'll be sure and check on him. Like, I just talked to him a couple days ago, so I'll be sure and check on him. But we're really excited to have him. He's coming back. He's coming to Cyphacon to cast Rocket League, and he's got quite a bit of versatility. But Rocket League is his main focus. But he's very good at Halo as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we were really excited to discover him because we kind of took a chance on him. Because we really had no idea who he was until he just kind of applied for one of our community casting positions. With our Halo tournament, we had 3 professional casters that were big name pros that we brought in with a substantial investment to get them here to kind of build notoriety for the event. And then we had 3 community casters. And one of those was a pre-picked guy named Ryan Proust, known as Taze, who is an old Lake Charles Toyota employee from days gone by and also a Scion Esports veteran. So he was pretty much locked in as one of the Halo community casters, but the other 2, we just kind of opened it up for applications. And we got him. He applied and sent us a little demo reel that didn't have any Halo in it at all, but he just was kind of just such an exciting and engaging person that we said, man, let's take a chance on this guy. And we got him on the Halo tournament, and he just did a fantastic job. He just was so engaging and so entertaining.
He's actually a really down to earth guy. When I actually got to get the chance to actually meet and talk with him, he's really chill.
He's super chill, super down to earth, and that's what's cool about a lot of these esports personalities is esports is just like professional traditional sports in that there's, football players, there's 1 million of them in high school and 100,000 of them in college, and then 1,000 of them in the NFL, and some of those ones in the NFL are probably pretty nice guys, but a lot of them have pretty big heads, and they may not be that nice of guys. They may not be all that cool, some of them, but the esports kind of gradient is even smaller. Like if there's 1,000 people in the NFL that are famous and have made a lot of money doing it, it's a factor of 10 or 100 less than that in esports. And so the ones that kind of get the big head and get the, arrogance and the attitude, and they're just not that many of them, and the ones that are, you can kind of, okay, well, we've done that with a few people. We've kind of not fired, but realized we didn't really want to hire back a few people because of that. But most of the people in the esports community, especially like the up and comers, like we just talked about, are just super down to earth, super humble, super fun people that are just doing something they love. And so they're great people, and they're just like he's just a lot of fun to talk to because he's just so down to earth and humble and genuine and just having a great time doing what he's doing.
Now, another thing that actually is gonna probably blow your mind is that I'm actually gonna be interviewing somebody that works at Epic Games, specifically at Fortnite.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so, that's fantastic.
So basically, I'm gonna have him actually come on board, and he told me that he's gonna try his best to try get us Donald Mustard, who is the creator of Fortnite.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Is he a developer or a community manager, or
he's a senior recruiter?
Recruiter, okay, cool.
Yeah, and
that should be.
And we got him because we actually interviewed a singer from the UK, and he's actually best friends with him. So he's the one that spread the word for us.
Cool. That should be a good interview. Talk about a company that, a success story in the esports industry. I mean, Fortnite, Epic Games. I mean, wow.
I mean, now that I don't know if you noticed, but they have no building on it.
I did see that. That is very interesting that they've decided to, kind of in the sports world, just kind of a classic meme, so to speak, in the sports world is Tiger Woods reinventing his swing, after winning the Masters however many times. And, Fortnite taking out building is at least as significant, if not more significant, than Tiger Woods reinventing his swing, because talk about reinventing the game. That is definitely, and the game has evolved to have a lot more. Originally, it was shooting and building, basically, but now they've got a lot of other dynamics. They've got these in-game events, and they've got a lot of different vehicles and airplanes. And, there's a lot of more dynamics in the game than there used to be. So I think it's an interesting decision on their part, and it's bold. It's certainly bold and brave to do that,
It's
to
because
take away the unique thing about your game. And I guess they basically created the industry. I mean, DayZ and PUBG, I think, technically existed before Fortnite, but before Fortnite, Battle Royale was not a genre. There was maybe a few niche games that a few people had heard of, but Arma, I think DayZ was an Arma mod, and those all kind of had the BR, like, primordial Battle Royale, origins. But before Fortnite, there was no such thing, and they created the genre that now is putting other shooters basically out of business. Like, if you don't have a BR now, like a lot of people say, that's why Halo is failing, because it can't maintain players, because players want a battle royale. So if you're Fortnite and you basically created the genre, I guess you can do whatever you want. You can take it whatever direction you want, make whatever changes in your game you want without too much fear.
And the fact that it actually is free to play is what really gets a lot of people involved.
Yeah, that's another.
Is known as the foundation. It really stands as the foundation for the genre as well.
Yep.
Just trying to make a little Fortnite connection there. Just dawned on me.
No worries. All right. So, is there any last minute things that you would like to say here in the Reef Podcast, Corey?
Man, I don't think so. I enjoy this. I enjoyed the talk, and anytime you need to fill a week or whatever, just give me a call and we'll get back on. But thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, it's very difficult to get the message out, and the best way to do it is by talking to people and talking about your organization. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and talk about Scion Esports.
And don't you worry, I mean, I haven't forgotten to get you, Eric, and Austin a Reef Podcast shirt.
Yes, I would love it.
Yep, sounds
Definitely.
good. All right,
Sounds
Snow,
fun.
thank you so much for being a temp co-host for today. I appreciate you, my dude. And for those of you that are listening, don't forget to tune in to Cyphacon at twitch.tv/Scion Esports and twitch.tv/LaffySmash. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. I can't wait to go. It should be fun. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, folks.